would you do if someone gave you just one rule? One simple rule. A rule so easy to follow that it seemed almost silly. Now imagine breaking that rule and hearing a knock at your door moments later. Tonight's African folktale tells the story of a boy who ignored his grandmother's warning. She told him never to let the light go out at night. He didn't listen, and what happened next changed his life forever. Welcome to Kaltumi's Tales. Today, you'll discover why wisdom is often hidden inside old stories and why some warnings survive for generations. This is the story of Musa, a curious boy who believed he knew better than his grandmother. Long ago, in a small village surrounded by trees and dusty roads, there lived a boy named Musa. Musa lived with his grandmother in a small house near the edge of the village. Every evening, just before sunset, she followed the same routine. She lit a small oil lamp, then she placed it beside the window. Every single night, without fail. At first, Musa never thought much about it, but as he grew older, curiosity began to grow inside him. One evening, he finally asked, "Grandmother, why do you always keep that lamp burning?" The old woman looked at him and replied, "Because the light must stay on." Musa laughed. That's not an answer. But that was all she would say. And the more she refused to explain, the more curious he became. Days passed. Musa kept asking questions again and again. Finally, one evening, his grandmother became serious. She lowered her voice. "Musa, no matter what happens, never let the light go out at night." The boy rolled his eyes. To him, it sounded like another old village superstition. The next day, he told his friends. They laughed. "Maybe she's afraid of the dark. Maybe she thinks the lamp scares away ghosts." The boys laughed even harder. Soon, Musa stopped taking the warning seriously. He convinced himself it was nothing more than an old story. But he was wrong, very wrong. One night, a powerful storm swept across the village. Rain hammered the rooftops. Thunder echoed through the darkness. Inside the house, the oil lamp flickered beside the window. Before going to sleep, Musa's grandmother looked directly at him. "No matter what happens tonight," she said, "do not let the lamp go out." Her voice sounded different, more serious than ever before. But Musa was tired of hearing the warning. Later that night, after his grandmother fell asleep, he stared at the lamp. The tiny flame danced quietly. "This is ridiculous," he whispered. Slowly, he stood up. He walked toward the lamp, and before he could change his mind, he blew it out. For a moment, nothing happened. Then came the sound. Knock, knock, knock.
The knocking came again, louder, slower, more deliberate. Then a voice called from outside. "Musa!" The boy froze. The voice sounded familiar. It sounded exactly like his friend Ibrahim. "Musa, open the door!" Musa took a step forward, but suddenly his grandmother grabbed his arm. "Don't move." The voice came again. Musa, it's me. His grandmother shook her head. That is not your friend. The boy's heart pounded. Then another voice appeared. This one sounded like his cousin. Then another, and another. Soon voices filled the darkness. Friends, neighbors, people he knew, all calling his name, all asking him to open the door. But something felt wrong. Something felt unnatural. If you were Musa, would you open the door or would you stay inside? Let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this folktale, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more African legends and mysteries. Now let's continue. Finally, Musa's grandmother lit the lamp again. The moment the flame appeared, every voice vanished. Silence returned. Only the storm remained. Musa sat trembling. What were those things? He whispered. The old woman stared at the flame. Then she told him a story. Long before the village existed, travelers disappeared in the forest. People spoke of strange voices, voices that sounded familiar, voices that called people into the darkness. The elders eventually discovered something. The mysterious voices feared light, especially the light of an oil lamp. That was why families near the forest always kept a flame burning through the night. Not because of superstition, because generations had learned the lesson the hard way. The next evening, Musa lit the lamp himself. This time he understood. Some warnings are not meant to scare us, they are meant to protect us. Years later, Musa became an old man, and every night before sleeping, he lit a small lamp beside the window. When his grandchildren asked why, he smiled. Then he told them the same story, the story of the night he ignored a warning and the voices that answered. Stories like this survive for a reason. They remind us that wisdom often comes from experience. Musa thought he knew better. He thought the warning was foolish. But one careless decision taught him a lesson he never forgot. Sometimes the rules we question most are the ones that protect us the most. And sometimes the smallest light can keep the greatest darkness away. If you enjoyed this African folktale, subscribe to Kaltumi's Tales for more animated stories, mysteries, legends, and village tales. And if you enjoyed this story, you'll love the next folktale on your screen right now. Until next time, keep the light burning.